recording. M111 is just setting up a Debian virtual machine. You'll need it later. And so if you haven't already done this if you've taken my other classes, you might already have one. If not, what you have to do is you have to install a hypervisor, which is Workstation Player on Windows or Fusion on the Mac. If you prefer to use something else like VirtualBox, go ahead, but I did not write instructions for them. So you have to have this product, and then you just download and import a Linux virtual machine. If you have an Intel processor, you can just download a pre-made Debian machine here. So let me show you that. This is what most students will do, like all the Windows users. They'll just go here, and now you'll just download one of these machines. And as you see, there's VirtualBox and VMware images. The only remaining decision is whether you want the minimal or the regular. For most students, you probably want the regular. It's bigger, but that means you get a desktop and a browser and all the familiar stuff. The minimal is the one I use. That's a headless server where you only can run it from the command line. And I prefer that, but most students are happier with something more familiar. So if you're a beginner, just get the regular installation with the whole GNOME desktop, VMware if you're using VMware, and VirtualBox if you're using VirtualBox. And then you just have to unzip this file and run it. And the instructions show you how there. Show you what you'll do. Now, if you have a Mac M1 or later, you cannot use those pre-made machines because they are made only for Intel processors. You will have to go through the installation process, and you'll find more information here. You get the ISO, and I do have more complete instructions somewhere, although not in this class. I'll have to add them there for these. But anyway, you have to go through the installation process, and then you'll end up with a Debian machine like the one I have here. And there. All right. So let me find the more complete instructions how to make this Debian virtual machine. Just a moment. I should have it in my other classes. Somehow it's not in this one. It's in 127. Let me get there. All right. I think it's in here. And yeah, this one, ED30. I'll put a link to this one there too. This one here has much more complete instructions here. This one has all detailed instructions for doing it on a Mac M1 to get an Intel and ARM-based Linux. All right. Anyway, all right, so let me make a note. Add ED30 to 128. All right, try to get there. Add ED30 to CNET 128. There. That's more complete instructions how to install your own Debian if you have to. That will only matter for the Mac users. All right. But the end result is you will have a virtual machine here. And one thing I wanted to show you, which is useful, is if you use a fully graphic machine with a desktop and everything, then you can pretty much work in here. If you use a headless machine, then what you have is this screen, which is the console. The console is not really very easy to use. It's not intended to do programming or anything in here because you can't scroll up, you can't change the font size, you can't copy and paste either into or out of here. It's very clumsy. The purpose of a console is to just be a box in the server room so you can see if the server is up and maybe restart it or make small adjustments. The way you actually use it is with SSH. So the only thing you do here is log in and type IP space A to get the IP address of this machine. This one's 192, 168, 121, 190. And then to use it, you open a terminal or PowerShell window. PowerShell if you're Windows, and terminal if you're on the Mac or Linux. And then you SSH the username, which is Debian for my machine, at that address, 192, 168, 121, 190. There, and then the password. And now I'm controlling it with SSH, and this window, you can scroll, you can change the font size, and you can copy and paste into and out of this window. So you control it here, and this is how you handle cloud servers. They're just the same. If you set up a cloud server on Azure or Amazon, there is a console that you can maybe see up there, but you can't do much. What you mostly do is run an SSH window to control it. So this is a good thing to get used to, how to use a headless server. And I even use this when I'm using graphical Linux distributions so I can copy and paste better. Because even though it has graphics and you can copy and paste into it because of VMware Tools never works very well. And very often copy and paste fails. And I got fed up with it. I just use an SSH window, which is more reliable. Anyway, I wanted to show you that. Those are tips that will help you. And so you set up your local machine, or your Debian Linux machine, and you'll need one as we go on later in the projects. So let me stop this one.